Hi there. I think this is working, and I've been organizing some drawings and some dimensions of what you see on the screen. I'm going to build a hand shaper, and it's the manufacturer was Petite Lime, Lime, L-I-M-E, and it was manufactured in a period of around 1906 to 1920, something like that. It's just a small hand shaper. I saw it in one of the groups, the shapers, a metal shaper, and decided that I liked it and thought that I would try and build one from scrap. So I managed to get some information, dimensions, a few dimensions, and some photographs, and I've drawn up some of the main castings from the information I got and scaled them down to 0.8. You probably realise that I only have TIG equipment, TIG lathe and TIG mill, and it's pretty small stuff, and so I figured that 0.8 would be okay and possibly doable on the TIG equipment. So I've already bought a block of hot rolled steel, and it's 2 inches thick by 8 inches wide and 12 inches long, and that is the main base. So the rest of it, I'm hoping, well, I'm pretty certain that I'm going to have to get hold of some cast iron to finish off the rest, or as much as possible. So that's going to be a bit difficult, because up here in Canada it's not very easy to get hold of. So I'm going to have to venture down to the US, and that's going to cost me a little bit, but maybe it's worth it. So that base is pretty solid in steel, and it weighs about, I think it weighs about 56 pounds. So I was a bit worried about putting it on the TIG mill, especially with any overhang off the table. There's quite a bit of weight hanging off the table, so I was a bit dubious about it at first, but I've got it set up on the mill, and what I've done so far is to machine the 8-inch surface edge to give me a datum to work from. The T-slots, there's no accuracy required there, other than fitting it for a 3820 set of the Taiwanese clamps, clamp set. So that's what I'm working around. I'm kind of thinking that the cross slide, this part here, is going to be cast iron, and so I should be able to do that on the lathe and the mill, and I figure that I can actually make this section here in 2 parts. That will just be a round billet, of cast iron machined in two parts, like maybe 6" or 5.5" lengths, that I can do on the TIG lathe, and then I can fit them together and clamp them in some form, either with bars going underneath all the way along the length, and another one along the actual groove that's in there to clear the lead screw and the nut. So I figure that I can manage to get that going. There's also part of this casting, it's all in one. There's this part that comes down here and clamps down on the base of the shaper, and that's all in one. So there's you can't see it in this picture, but there's a part of this unit here goes across at the back by about, oh no, 1.25" by 1.25" high bar, and I figure that I can do that from another part of cast iron and cut out the apertures, or maybe not even do that, and that will stabilize this join that I have here against any force. So this ram here is I think it's about 11" long, but with 0.8 it works out to a little bit less, and the rest of the stuff should be doable. Well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I'm hoping to do all of this on the TIG equipment. I don't particularly want to farm it out to somewhere unless I have to. It's got a 7" stroke, and it doesn't have a lot of height here, as there's no table that moves up and down. It's all one solid piece. But the kind of work that I'm doing is basically small stuff. I like making tools for the TIG, tooling for the TIG, and small stuff. I'm not really into big stuff, so I figured that it should be adequate. There's lots of area for clamping. I've got certain clamp units that will force it down onto the table by a sloping action, and if I have to, if I ever need more height, then it's quite possible to place, maybe make up some special risers to go underneath there with a hole for the bolt, and that will raise up the whole unit. And that's one of the reasons why I went with the 2". I could have gone smaller, but I wanted the rigidity on the base, so that there's no flex going to take place on the actual base itself. I shan't be taking big cuts. It'll be short, just mild cuts. So that's the new project. I'll go in a bit closer if I can, so that you can see. My hand is not very steady, but yeah, it's an interesting project, and I'm kind of looking forward to it. It's going to be a long job, because there's a lot of development has to take place, because some of the stuff, like for instance this section here, I'm going to do away with that. I'm going to leave the base, the complete 2" thick all the way along, and you can't see it here, but there's a bar that is attached. It's all one casting, and it goes right the way across to the other side, and it's about 1.5 inches. It comes up just underneath here. I'm going to use that section that is sticking out to use as a clamp to clamp the body to the base. As I go along, I'm sure that things will change. I'll make changes accordingly, so there may be some mistakes, and hopefully I can cope with that and not scrap too much. So what I'll do now is I've got this base that I purchased. I've got it on the mill, and I'll take the camera over now to the mill and set it up on the tripod, and then you can see exactly this big chunk of metal and a little TIG mill. Okay, let's go. Got to get set up. Okay, that's that. I'll take that back. Now where are we? Okay, I see. I've got to get rid of that light. Maybe around. I wonder if that'll be better. Well, how's that? That might do it. I think it's too bright. Now, I hope you'll understand that my video experience is practically nil, and where are we? Okay, I'll go back a bit. Okay, so I hope you can see that this is the block. I have it on a hardboard sheet underneath, and it's sticking out quite a way from the front edge of the table, so just got to make sure that your mill is clamped down well on the bench because of this overhang, and it does make the turning of the lead screws on the X and the Y a bit stiff, so it's not like milling a little small piece. It's nice and easy. This is quite a big chunk for something like this. So I've got a 1/4 4-flute end mill in the collet, and I guess I'm running around maybe 1,000 RPM, something like that, and makes a lot of noise. As you can appreciate, it's pretty heavy for this little machine. So, but it's doing a fairly good job. I've cleaned up this front edge, and that will be my datum line for putting in the T-slots, and at least I've got something to work to. I would like to have squared this up as well, this one of these edges, but it's a little bit too much for the machine, I think. So the T-slots, the elongated T-slots that come this way, they end about there, so I should have plenty of movement on my X table to do that. These little short ones on either side I can do in this position, but again once I move the table in to do the first two each side, I'm going to have to undo this and move it in further onto the table, which will help a bit in the weight problem. And then I'll finish off the other two. So this is going to take quite a long time. It's going to be, like I say, it's going to be a long project, and there's going to be plenty of videos. Unfortunately, I'm not experienced in editing my videos, and so I can't clip and cut out sections, so I have to do it in separate videos. I think I've explained enough at this point. If I haven't given enough information, if anybody is interested, they can always comment and ask when they watch the video. So this is these are the T-nuts that I'm going to use. They're 3/8 20 thread, and so they'll be on there. And then any clamping, or if it's available, I've got 4 of these. There's a name on them somewhere. What it was? Oh yeah, J&S Tool Company Incorporated. I think it says, yeah, Incorporated. They're pretty nice units. I got 4 of those, so I can use those as well for clamping down jobs. So that will come in the future, I'm sure. I'll show you some when it's all done. You can see how these things work. They work very well. So that's that. At the moment, I've just got the ordinary T-nuts of the TAG and the little 3/16 studding and 3/16 bolts. So nuts, I should say. So I'll be very happy when I can get this all done and finished. I'm going to put some holes in here so that I can move the cross slide and the ram backwards or forwards accordingly if I have to. I don't imagine that I'm going to be doing a lot of work on here, but it would be handy if I'm doing any spur gears or any keyways in bores and stuff like that. So I had an Atlas B7 that was in mint condition, had been sitting around for 10 years with a tarpaulin over it in a cancer clinic, machine shop, and I kind of regret getting rid of it now. I got rid of it about 3 or 4 years ago when I downsized, and it's really, Shapers are really a nice machine, and I'd like to see them come back in popularity, because they do give you a lovely finish, and there's so much you can do on them, and you can take some big cuts as well, so you can move the metal. So okay, I'm gonna call off now, and get this marked out for putting the slots in first, and then I may have to make a cutter up to mill out the bottom section, the top of the T there. So that will be another little project. So thanks for watching, and if you like, you can give me a click on the hand, and any comments would be replied to. So hope you enjoy. Thank you.